Alright, this is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to do a few multiplication word problems. And so hopefully by the end of this you will understand how to solve some of these word problems involving decimals and multiplication. Alright, our first example here says that a baker used 5 cups of flour to make a full-size cake. If they wanted to make a cake that was 1.5 the size, how many cups of flour would they need? Well, it was a little tricky one because they left out an important word that they could have put in there, but they didn't because I think they thought it was going to be a little too obvious. It says a baker used 5 cups of flour to make a full-size cake. If they wanted to make a cake that was 1.5 the size, they could have said 1.5 times the size. How many cups of flour would they need? If they would have thrown that times the size in there, it probably would have been a little more giveaway, but you can think of it as being 1.5 times as big as 5 cups. So we're going to take our 1.5 and multiply it by 5. Now, I know that 1.5 isn't the bigger number, but it does have the most digits, so when I'm multiplying, I'm going to put the 1.5 on top. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. And there's nothing left to carry down because we only have one digit here on the bottom. So I just need to count my number of decimal places. It looks like I have one number behind a decimal place, so I'm going to move my number 1 that way. 7.5 cups of flour. Alright, pretty straightforward. Very straightforward. Think of it, when you think of it, you try to think of those key terms of, product, times. Those are all indicators of multiplication. The second problem here that I have is a little bit trickier. It says that Janet read 4.4 pages of a book in a minute, and if she read for 4.22 minutes, how much would she have read? So, again, I know that we can all solve this problem if the numbers were easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the numbers. So let's just pretend, okay, so for instance, if the question said instead of 4.4, let's just said she read 3 pages of a book in a minute, and she read for, let's just call that 2 minutes. If the problem said that, we would know, oh, well, she read 3 pages the first minute, 3 pages the second minute, so 3 times 2 would equal 6, right? Well, unfortunately, she didn't read 3 pages of a book in a minute. She read 4.4 pages of a book in a minute. So really, I'll have 4.4 pages times. Unfortunately, she did not read for 2 minutes. She read for 4.22 minutes. So I need to find the product or the result of 4.4 times 4.22. Now again, I know 4.22 is not bigger than 4.4, but it does have more digits. So I'm going to put that on the top and multiply that by 4.4. All right. Oh, I guess Mr. Gillum kind of did something without telling you. Mr. Gillum did not put the 0 on the 4.4. because he knows that's just an extra added value. If I was adding these numbers together, I might think that that 0 is useful. Or if I didn't have an extra spot, then I might think it's useful. But I don't really need it for multiplication. In fact, it's just going to make my problem a little bit longer. So I just dropped the 0 off because it's really just a placeholder. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply these numbers together. For another example, 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8 again. 4 times 4 is 16. Now I'm moving over 1. So I'm moving from this spot over 1, so I need to put a placeholder and start my next line 1 over as well. So 4 times 2 is 8 again, 8 again, 16 again. Now all we gotta do is add those two together. Looks to me like I'm gonna have an 8, a 16, so I'll carry a 1. 14, 15, so I'll carry a 1. 6, 7, 8, and a 1. So all that's left to do is count how many decimal places that there are. I see 1, 2, 3. 3 numbers behind the decimal place. So my invisible decimal place starts right here. I'm going to move them 3 spots. It looks to me like my answer, or my product, is going to be 18.568 pages. All right. So that's it today. Like I said, one of the best strategies that I think works really well is changing the pages, or changing the numbers in the problem to easily workable numbers, and then solving it quickly with mental math, and then understanding where each number should go once you change it back to the difficult numbers. So that's it for today, multiplying fractions. I said multiplying fractions, but I meant multiplying decimals. Over and out.